Hello again, everyone. This is Lane Collins. I'm so thankful again for you to be tuning in to Carry Your Cross on this Monday, March 14th. And if you're like me, it's going to take me maybe a week or two to get used to the brand new time change as we go through every single year. But this morning I was up early. I was thinking to myself about when I was smaller, when I was a little boy. And when my parents would put me in bed and I'd have to be there by myself, of course, I would convince myself that there was a monster up under my bed. Sometimes I thought that he might be lurking in the closet, so I would ask my mom to turn my little closet light on, or maybe a night light beside my bed. And it was always, very, very safe for me to pull the covers up over my head. Maybe you have some stories that you would like to tell in regard to that as well. But, even though there was a nightlight there, maybe a light on in the closet, sheets pulled over my head, the safest place was always for me to jump out of the bed very quickly, run down the hallway, and then ask my mom, could I sleep between, my parents? Parents would have just an uncanny ability to make me feel secure. When there was a lightning storm outside with thunder, I would always want to be with my parents. When there was something that was troubling me, like the monster under the bed or maybe the one in the closet, my parents would take my fears away. And now that I'm older, maybe you as well, we've got bigger, quote, monsters to deal with. Maybe today you're dealing with some sort of an addiction. Maybe you are going through a divorce. Maybe you are facing some type of financial situation that has got you feeling very nervous or anxious. Maybe there's a situation at work. Maybe you're intimidated by your boss. Maybe you're intimidated by another one of your co-workers, or there's just so many things that we deal with as adults now that are very similar, I guess you could say, to the monsters up under the bed. But as I also grow older, I have come to understand that so many times we worry about just two things. Number one, we worry about things that we have no control over. And number two, we worry about things that we do have control over. And if you were honest, and you would tell me that many times, more times than not, we deal with the fear of things that we have no control over whatsoever. And when we come to God's word in 1 John chapter 4, John addresses this reality of fear. He says in verse 18, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves punishment, and the one who fears is not perfected in love. You see, if we find ourselves anxious, if we find ourselves fearful, then it points to the fact that maybe we have not really understood the true love of God. We worry about things many times that we have no control over, but God has control over every single situation that we will ever face. So if we embrace anxiety and fear, does that point to the fact that maybe we're not embracing Christ as we should? I was also reminded of what Paul writes over in the book of Ephesians, chapter 3. He says right here in verses 17 that his desire for the Ephesian believers was that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, and that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may be able to do what? Look, in verse 18, may be able to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and the length and the height and the depth, and to know the love of Christ, which surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled up to all the fullness of God. So today, if there's something that you are anxious about, today, if you are fearful of something or someone, my prayer for you is that you may be filled up to all the fullness of God. That instead of embracing that anxiety and instead of embracing that fear, that you would instead embrace Christ and allow Him to fill you up so that fear and anxiety will not be able to overwhelm you. Until next time, this is Pastor Lane Collins right here at Mount Calvary Baptist Church. I bid you peace, I bid you love, and always know that I'm praying for you and your family. So today, continue to carry your cross into this lost and dying world. And if you've never given your heart and life to Christ, I pray that today would be the day of salvation for you. God bless you.